Oh, hey, Merry almost Christmas. It's Christmas Eve today, and if you haven't got all your shopping done, if you haven't got all your Christmas gift wraps, then what are you wasting your time watching this kind of stuff for on YouTube? You guys have stuff to do. Now, granted, that's true. I don't have all my shopping done either, and I don't have all my Christmas gifts wrapped, but I'm trying to put my priorities right. Chess videos! Hey, I want to say thank you and Merry Christmas to every one of you, my subscribers. You guys are the best. You gals are the best. Thank you. I just noticed this morning that I have over 25,000 subscribers. I've hit a new high mark that I sincerely just didn't expect ever. And I am humbled, and I am overwhelmed, and I am in awe of you guys. This is so pleasurable. It's so much fun for me to have fun with my friends around the world that I've never even met, right? Isn't that fun? That's cool. When I got back started a month ago, I had, I believe, 22,900. And this morning I just surpassed 25,000. 3,000 new subscribers in 1 month. Thank you sincerely. I'm just stunned. It's fun. It makes me want to even try to be better, to give you great chess and to help you appreciate this magnificent game. So anyway, that's enough blubbering on. Listen, people, I have shopping to do. Will you stop distracting me from subscribing and let me do some more videos? All right. Really seriously, this game, again, this is two games I'm taking out of this book of Alexander Aлекhine's. Man, this was a simultaneous exhibition. Let's see. It was in New York, January 1924. He's playing a man named Kussman, K-U-S-S-M-A-N. I honestly have never heard of him before. In a simultaneous, Alekhine at this point was setting world records for blindfold chess. I mean, like he was playing 29 games without looking at any of the boards and winning. This isn't a blindfold, it's a simultaneous. I don't know how many tables he played. It doesn't matter. This is what we, in the chess world, we would call a miniature, because he won. Oh, I wasn't supposed to tell you that. Sorry. Anyway, let's get on with this. What I want to show you in this game is the astonishing power of Alekhine. But then we already knew that, right? But there is just something about his chess that is so incredibly, outrageously delightful. Alekhine is playing the white pieces. Now, this is so unfair, because Alekhine, by 1924, he was getting there, right? He had 15 years of chess under his belt, and he was really approaching the pinnacle of superbity, if that's even such a word. Hey, it's a word because I invented it. Superbity. Isn't that a great word, right? Just came right out there. It came floating right out there, right? Okay, so Kussman is holding his own at this point. This kind of stuff starts getting real tricky if you haven't played this 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 times, so that you know the reverberations of your desires later down the road. Alekhine by now was so well experienced that he knew he wanted to take this pawn with his bishop pawn. He was well aware of that, and now he puts the first question mark, and we're only on move 5. Kussman already made a mistake on move 5, right? So he took this pawn with his king pawn. And so he said, actually, it was the knight that should have taken the pawn. That's why he put the question mark. Taking it with the king pawn, don't do that if you can at all help it in your games. Try to retake it with the knight. That's a great, d5 is a great square, but it should have been the knight, not the pawn. So anyway, enough of that noise. Alekhine brings his bishop up, and he goes, I am going to pin that knight right to that queen. And again, just for the emphasis of this, we see this a lot in quite a few of the different openings, yeah? But really, this is a tactic. Yes, it's an opening move, and you almost just do it without thinking, but observe why this tactic, this tactical pin of the knight, and sometimes if the knight is developed over here, they will bring the bishop up here to pin the knight to the king. But observe what the tactic is doing. This knight is supporting these two squares in the center, right? And this pawn is supporting the e4 square. So, in theory, in some part of the game, at some time, whether earlier or later, that can be a really good outpost for the knight. Yes? If it's not pinned. So this move, yes, it brings up a piece, but it really does help support the center because of that pin. Just, you probably already know that, sorry, but it's really important to grasp that that's a really good move. So anyway, okay already, man, show us the great Alekhine game. I am, but I'm explaining as we go along. You know, it's something a typical amateur, boorish idiot like me would do, right? So, and the other correct thing, in many instances, and of course you have to read the board, but really, truly, instead of coming back, you know, to support the center directly with the bishop, just take the knight. You've already expended a tempo developing the piece, just take the knight, and now these two squares have a better chance of you getting to them. Because see, you're hitting this one here now. Now that the knight's gone, this square becomes just a little bit less valuable for black. See how that works? And there's no way around it. Even in today's modern chess, for the most part, the battle is in the center, man. That's just how it is. It's just something we have to grasp. So, and the queen, of course, is going to take the bishop. Don't, you know, yeah, take the bishop. Take the bishop. It's okay. Okay, now, the thrust right up into the center. This is so typical of so many grandmasters, and it's something we need to pay attention to. Really seriously. You can't let the center fall into the hands of your opponent if you can at all help it. And now the pawn takes the king pawn. So you ask, well, yeah, but what good did that do? You just simply put a pawn up there, and now the pawn's gone. But, look, the pawn used to be here, influencing this square. I mean, duh, you know, grandmaster chess here, right? However, by taking the pawn, now it moves its influence and it changes the nature of that square, doesn't it? Really? Occupation of a square is a different thing than influencing a square. I know, it's all so blatantly beginner, boring, below 800 ELO rating commentary, but after all, repetition is going to improve our chess. And there is so much to keep track of that it never hurts. So that is why Alekhine pushing that pawn, it works. Because now we have bishop over here to knight 5 check. And they have it in the old, I hate this old notation, but you know, it should have said bishop to b5, but this is bishop knight 5 check. It's an old print. So anyway, bishop to queen 2, and he stops the check, right? So now at this point, because he has thrown out the bishop and the other bishop is coming down, now the knight takes the pawn. And you go, wait a second. Doesn't that leave the bishop unsupported? And the answer is yes, it does. So he got a free piece. No, he didn't, because by taking the pawn, the greater threat is against the queen. So the queen comes over to queen knight 3. And again, now this bishop is double had. I mean, you could support it by this, but there's nothing wrong with that. However, hold on. Sit on your hands, like Lasker said. Let's look for a better move. And of course, Alekhine found the better move. This is too passive. You react in a defensive manner when you play. If you were to do something like this, well, I've got to protect my piece with either pawns or another piece in a way, and in this instance it would be too passive. Far better just to take the bishop. So that's what Alekhine does, right? And of course the knight takes the bishop, and it brings out another piece, so that can't be all bad for black, right? Seriously. Alekhine's going to castle. Good thing to do. And now the pawn takes the pawn. And it is an isolated black pawn, and there's no white pawns at all in the middle, which is really interesting for an Alekhine game, because usually he's really got the center strongly supported with pawns or else pieces. But there's a reason why Alekhine did it this way. Now that is an unusual board position, in my opinion, amateur though I am, for Alekhine, because I played through a few of his games, and this is really interesting. However, his attack is absolutely crushing. Once again, one kind of a key, maybe, a pattern that I've noticed in quite a few of Alekhine's games, is when he puts his knights together, it is sheer terror against whoever he's playing. Whether it was Akiba Rubinstein or Aaron Nimzovich or even Lasker himself or Frank Marshall, whoever he was playing, man, when he put his knights together, and it didn't matter where on the board, over here, or right there in the center, it was a holy terror attack. So let's watch this unfold. It's really, really interesting. Rook to Queen 1. Now, who's nabbing the open file here? Isn't that interesting? Yes, I know the queen has the open file, but queens are really not the best to have as an open. I mean, they're better than nothing, but the rooks is where the power is. Because once these two knights get out of the aisle, Alekhine's going to be forced to move his queen. Excuse me, his queen. Too much breakfast. Anyway. Watch how Alekhine handles this. Oh, let me do this right. Okay, this one, yes. Knight to king, bishop 5. Man, I'm so used to the algebraic notation. Knight to f5, but this says knight to king, bishop 5. Ugh. I'm going to have to go through and translate all these games into algebraic equation. That'd be a great way to study them, wouldn't it? Take me about 3 years, but I could do it. So now the attack is on, really seriously. And it is so interesting because, see, this is crazy when you stop and think about it. The board is wide open. There is nothing in the center. And as a general rule, this supports bishops, the long-range pieces. So what pieces does Alekhine have that is so damaging? Knights. He's right out there in the middle, fully coming at his opponent with knights on an open board. Notice how weak his opponent's bishop is as compared to those two absolutely magnificent knights. That's worth understanding. You have to make your pieces more powerful. Notice how much more magnificent those two knights are than this knight. Just something to be aware of in our games when we're playing. Try to make your pieces better than your opponents. In this case, Alekhine is really much better. You can see that. It's obvious. Really interesting. So, okay. Well, knight to king 4. Now he's got a centralized knight. Yeah, he's got a centralized knight. He's trying. He really is. I'll give him that. Queen to king 2. And like I told you, once the knights move, now black has this open file with his rook. That's kind of interesting to see. His opponent has the open file against an Alekhine. That's almost worth bragging about, even though if you was to lose the game, hey, I got an open file on Alekhine, man, because that's rare. I don't see that a lot in his game, so that's kind of fun to see. Pawn knight 3. Now, of course, he wants to, he realizes, okay, hold on, that's pretty tough. That's a tough score. But actually what this does is it permits a very elegant finish, is how Alekhine put it. Because queen to knight 5 check. And you go, come on. Here you are bragging about Alekhine, and then he does a stupid backyard professor idiotic chess mistake move like that? Wait a minute, what the heck? I'll let you figure out why that queen is perfectly safe in that position. I promise, black can't take that queen, no matter how bad he wants to. He can't touch her. It's mate the next move if he does, I'll put it that way. So there's your chess puzzle right there, right? Instead, he goes like this. He puts the knight to queen 2. And I'll let you figure out why on earth that's the only possible move he could have done to prolong the agony of staying in the game. The game's all essentially over right now. I'm not even going to show you why. I'll let you figure it out. That's the fun of it, right? Merry Christmas, by the way. Woohoo! A chess puzzle. Okay. And now... Okay, he bumped the knight back. Time for Alekhine to seize and challenge the open file and pin the knight to the rook. This is a perfectly logical move. Really. And now he's threatening checkmate again. And he shows it in his notes, but I'll let you figure out, wait a minute. Alekhine's threatening checkmate? Oh, heavens, yes. He is threatening checkmate again, but I'm not going to show you. You figure it out yourself. That's part of the fun of it. Come on! Work with me on this. You know you love it when I do this. Don't give me that. I can't give you all the answers all the time. For Pete's sake, man. Come on, come on. Okay, bishop, knight, queen 5. Okay, now the bishop comes up to here. Finally, he's getting his bishop out somewhat, but it's a little bit too late. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't help a lot. Now, it actually stopped the checkmate. There's your hint. Now knight to bishop 6, and he has, oh, you know what? I lied. Sorry. Oh, that's such a typical blunder on my part. He brought his rook to king 1, not queen 1. He didn't care about that file. He cared about this file. Sorry, a couple of moves before. I completely misled you, and now I have stupefied you in chess. You have now lost 900 rating points. If you were only rated at 900, congratulations, you've reached the 0 bar with me. So we inhabit a special place in chess ratings history. So with this in mind, he does a double check. Boy, I've got to get my act together, people! And now king goes to bishop 1. And knight takes the knight check in all defiance. That knight puts a fantastic fork on the queen and the king right in front of the rook. Check. So, black takes the rook. Yeah. Hello. And now comes the move. Now comes the move. Shazam! Or should I say kablam? Threatening in 3 different ways to checkmate his opponent with that one move, and that is where black resigned. What a fabulous finish, right? The 3 checkmates are, of course, taking the rook, checkmate. The other checkmate possibility is just straight up, checkmate. And the other checkmate possibility is coming over to here, checkmate. Is that not incredible? Oh, you know what? That is not checkmate. Nope, that is not checkmate. Well, then what's his third one? Oh, for Pete's sake. See, I don't know a thing about chess. I can't see the 3 different checkmates. They're there. I'm not worried about it. When Alekhine says they're there, they're there. Anyway, that's where he resigned. So anyway, there is your flubbed up Merry Christmas Eve chess video with a very human backyard professor who is just maybe that far from being a grandmaster. Yeah. The problem is, on a universal scale, that's about 300,000 million light years distance. But, grandmaster or not, we are having a magnificent time. So, Merry Christmas, and for Pete's sake, will you turn the video off? Go shop and get your crap wrapped, man. That's what I'm going to go do. And don't forget about tomorrow. I've got some special Christmas video games for you, or chess games, to show you on video. So, have a Merry Christmas. Drive safe out there. Be safe, do good, be well, have fun, and all that jazz. And get to bed early tonight. Santa Claus is coming. You know, the old fat man with the red suit. Hasta la vista, man. This is Captain Kirk out. But I will see you next time.